You paid someone to handle your money, a real professional, licensed, certified, recommended by a friend of a friend. You sat down, showed them your savings, your goals, your retirement timeline. They nodded. They had a plan. You felt relief. Finally, someone who knows what they're doing. 3 years later, the market is up 24%. Your portfolio is up 9%. You don't know why. They send you quarterly reports, full of charts, full of words. You read them and feel vaguely reassured. You don't ask questions. They're the expert. That's exactly the problem. Now, before you close this video, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, my advisor is different. I've known him for years. He's not some commission-hungry shark. He actually cares. Maybe. Probably. But caring and being structurally incentivized to serve you are two completely different things. And the system your advisor operates in was not built for you, it was built around you. There's a difference. And that difference costs real money. I'm not here to make you angry at your advisor. I'm here to show you how the math actually works. Here's what we're covering. First, the hidden price tag. What financial advice actually costs, in numbers most people never calculate. Second, the best argument in favor of advisors and why it still falls apart. Third, when advisors genuinely make sense and when they don't. And at the end, I'll give you 3 questions you can use to audit any advisor in under 10 minutes. Questions they will not enjoy. Let's start with the price tag. Meet Daniel. He's 34. He has $120,000 saved. He hires a financial advisor who charges 1% AUM per year, assets under management. 1%. Sounds like nothing. Daniel thinks it's nothing. 1% of $120,000 is $1,200 a year. Fine, coffee money, right? But Daniel isn't keeping $120,000 forever. He's growing it. And that 1% isn't charged on his starting balance. It's charged every year on the growing balance. At 7% average market return, Daniel's $120,000 becomes roughly $920,000 over 30 years if it grows untouched. But he's also paying 1% annually throughout. That means the effective return his money is working at isn't 7%, it's closer to 6%. The difference between 7% and 6% over 30 years on $120,000 is not $36,000. It's not $60,000. It's $177,000. Daniel's advisor earns $177,000 in fees from one client over 30 years, while that client earns $177,000 less. This is not a scandal. This is math. It's built into the structure, and that's before we talk about fund selection. Many advisors place clients into actively managed mutual funds. Those funds charge their own fees, expense ratios, often 0.5% to 1.2% annually, on top of the advisor fee. So Daniel might be paying 1.75% per year in total. At 1.75% drag on a 7% return, the 30-year cost is not $177,000, it's closer to $280,000. Daniel will never see a bill for $280,000. He'll just receive slightly smaller statements. He won't connect the dots. This is why the system works. But here's where it gets interesting. The best argument for advisors is a real one. People are irrational with money. Studies show that average retail investors underperform the market by 1.5% to 3% annually. Not because the market is hard, but because people panic. They sell when markets crash, they buy when markets peak. They chase last year's winner. A good advisor stops you from doing stupid things. If you would have pulled everything out in March 2020, and millions of people did, a calm voice telling you to hold might have saved you from locking in a 34% loss right before a 100% recovery. That's real value. Behavioral coaching has real dollar value. But here's what that argument assumes. It assumes your advisor is actually providing behavioral coaching. Most are not. Most are sending quarterly reports. Most interactions with a financial advisor are not I talked you off the ledge.
Here is your rebalanced portfolio. And that service, mechanical rebalancing, can be automated today for 0.25% or less. Robo-advisors do it, target date funds do it. The premium you pay for a human is not paid for the mechanics. It's paid for the relationship, for the comfort, for the feeling of being taken care of. And feelings are worth something. But $280,000 worth of feelings is a choice you should make consciously, not accidentally. Now, and I promised to be honest, here's where advisors make genuine sense. Complex tax situations. If you have equity compensation, rental income across multiple states, an inheritance with trust complications, or you're running a business and optimizing for retirement simultaneously, a fee-only financial planner who charges by the hour and does not manage your assets is worth every dollar. That's a specific professional for a specific problem. Another scenario, behavioral protection at scale. If you know with certainty that you will panic sell during a crash and you have $800,000 on the line, paying someone to hold the line could be rational. But you need to know yourself accurately. Most people overestimate their discipline in the abstract. And one final scenario, estate planning in later life. Multi-generational wealth transfer, charitable structures, Roth conversion strategies. This is genuinely complex. A fiduciary advisor with a flat fee structure is appropriate here. The pattern is clear. Advisors add value in complexity. They extract value in simplicity. Most people have simple financial situations wearing the costume of complexity. The costume was often put on by the advisor. Now let me show you how this plays out in real life. Daniel is 29. He gets his first real job, starts making $72,000 a year. His HR department mentions a 401k with a company match. He contributes enough to get the match. Good start. At 31, he gets a raise. A friend mentions he should do something with his money. He doesn't know what. He Googles, gets overwhelmed, and decides to talk to a professional. His bank has a financial planning department. He schedules a meeting. The advisor is warm, competent sounding. She puts him into a managed portfolio with an all-in cost of 1.6% per year. Daniel feels better. This is reasonable. At 35, Daniel moves to a new job. He rolls over his old 401k. The advisor helps. It goes into the same managed fund structure. Still 1.6%. He doesn't question it. At 40, Daniel has $210,000 in his portfolio. He doesn't know that a simple 3-fund index approach, total market, international, bonds, with an expense ratio of 0.07% would have given him $241,000 instead. That $31,000 gap doesn't feel dramatic in the moment, but it's accelerating. Each year, the gap grows, not linearly, exponentially. By 55, that gap isn't $31,000. It's $190,000. Daniel has never missed a payment to his advisor. He's never been late. He's been a model client for 24 years, and he's paid $190,000 for the privilege of feeling confident while leaving $190,000 on the table. The tragedy is not that Daniel was cheated. The tragedy is that Daniel made 12 perfectly reasonable decisions. Each one made sense in the moment. The cost was invisible until it wasn't. So here are 3 questions. Use them the next time you talk to an advisor, or use them right now on the advisor you already have. Question 1. Are you a fiduciary, and will you put that in writing? Most people think they already know the answer. They're wrong. Financial advisor is not a protected title. Anyone can use it. A fiduciary is legally required to act in your interest. A broker is legally required to offer suitable products. Suitable and optimal are not the same word. If they hesitate on this question, you have your answer. Question 2. What is the all-in cost I'm paying, including fund expense ratios, advisory fees, and any transaction fees? Not the headline fee, the all-in cost. Most advisors will give you a number that does not include fund fees. You're not asking for the advisor fee. You're asking for the total annual percentage drag on your portfolio. If they can't produce that number immediately,
They either don't know it or prefer you don't. Question 3. How are you compensated, and what products do you receive additional compensation for selling? Some advisors receive kickbacks, legally called revenue sharing, for placing clients in specific funds. The fund pays the advisor. The advisor places you in the fund. You pay the fund's higher expense ratio. This is legal, it is common, and it creates a conflict of interest that is never mentioned unprompted. Here's what this all comes down to. Financial advisors sell confidence. That product has real value. But the price is not always stated clearly, and the contract is rarely read. The 1% fee is not the cost. The compound effect of the 1% fee is the cost. And if your situation is straightforward, which it probably is, you are overpaying for a service that a low-cost index fund and the one-time consultation could replicate. If you know someone who has a financial advisor and has never asked these 3 questions, share this video. Not to cause panic, to give them the same information you now have. And if you want to understand what actually replaces an advisor, what a simple, low-cost portfolio actually looks like, step by step, that's the next video.